Hey, this is Stephen Platinum with Platinum versus Raw, August 17th, 2020. This is a go home show for, uh, of course, SummerSlam, which is this weekend on Sunday. What can I say about this show? Um, Two things. It was obviously an attempt to keep the show moving. And this is the last one they're going to have in the Performance Center, and then they're going to be in the Amway Center for Thunderdome. I would imagine this show will do a little better because it was just like a skipping stone. Just thing after thing after thing happened. Was it a good show? It was not. There were some good things in it. Some of the promo work was very good. Drew McIntyre continues to improve on the microphone, no doubt about that. But a bunch of strange stuff, a bunch of very short matches with a lot of run-ins and a lot of gaga and a lot of stuff that just left me scratching my head on why did they already pay this off and that off. Very odd show, but a show that was attempting to stay busy, kind of Russo-esque in that way, where when in doubt, just keep doing a lot of stuff. So we open up with the Then, Now, and Forever. My last commentary in full disclosure 72, I talk about Then, Now, and Forever and how they need to change it and make a move. It's fascinating and already gotten some great feedback about it. So you want to check that out. So they got technical difficulties, and I go like, oh, there's Retribution. And if you looked at my last Ask Platinum number 10, somebody asked me about it. Well, how would you book Retribution? And this kind of stuff is part of what I would do, but I would do sort of larger scale stuff as well. But then as soon as I see the thing glitching, I laugh and I go like, oh boy, they're doing hackery kind of stuff on the show. Oh boy. But we got the normal Raw intro video because we don't want to confuse people too much. It reminds me of, Andy Kaufman when he had his special and he wanted to mess with the vertical hold of the shot and then sort of negotiates with the producers of the show of how long he can mess with the vertical hold, since that's going to cost them audience. And Andy Kaufman ultimately gets what he wants because he gets like 10 seconds. But then the negotiation process of how long you can keep messing with the audience in that way commences. And it reminds me of this Raw. So it's like, we can do glitchy stuff for a couple seconds, but then we just have to do the normal intro. Which to me strikes me as perfectly strange, especially since Retribution is in the truck. And if they're going to mess with stuff, wouldn't they keep messing with everything? Why would they let some stuff go? Again, this show belies that kind of analysis. I understand that. So Tom Phillips welcomes us. He's with Saxton and Joe. I don't think these guys get enough credit for doing a good job. They really do a really, really good job. He apologizes, Tom that is, for the technical difficulties and reiterates their concern about Retribution. We got the trainees in the crowd again. They're cheering. Rey Mysterio's rumored to return, which they didn't. I don't know. That's one of those things that you think could help ratings. So Rey Mysterio is going to be here. Shawn Michaels is going to be here. Shayna Baszler and Asuka are going to face the Golden Role Models in a non-title match. Golden Role Models, of course, being Bayley and Sasha. And Shawn Michaels is going to address Randy Orton. And they should have put in parentheses, and get RKO'd and punted in the head. We all know this. Drew McIntyre comes out, and he's fired up, and it's good. It's a good way to start the show. So we're showing Randy Orton attacking Ric Flair from last week. Drew gets very emotional, and it's all good. It's good stuff. Drew's talking about a lot of history stuff with Foley and Orton. And again, it does make you wonder, so everything about Drew and Orton is really related to Orton's always been sort of a naughty boy. It's odd. Drew McIntyre's in the back. We see Retribution destroying equipment in the production truck. So we come back from the break, and Drew McIntyre is in the back with a bunch of wrestlers, and Drew goes on about Randy Orton, which is weird, and then he goes on about Retribution, and he's trying to mobilize them. Rollins comes and mocks Drew and says that being champion doesn't make Drew a leader or a teacher. Okay. So then that gets Drew off track, and he starts talking about what they did to Dominic. I guess we're all caring about that now. So they get into a little bit of a scuffle, but people break it up quickly. Okay. And Ricochet says the weirdest line. Drew, he's not worth it. It's like Seth Rollins is not worth beating up for what he did to Dominic? What the fuck? Like, none of this, God, it's so weird. It's just so weird, as people's detachment emotionally is weird. Like, they should all be furious what was done to Dominic. They should be furious, but they're not. I would imagine, I write down at this point, Rey Mysterio will show up and him and Dominic will get total revenge on Seth Rollins, which makes no sense. We'll see if that comes true. We go back out to the ring, got Hurt Business. They're gonna just work with that name, I guess, until I decide that it's okay. It is what it is. So MVP talks about Drew McIntyre and what he's doing, but the Hurt Business is here to make a statement. Hurt Business, open for business, kind of does a call out to Retribution. He says that the Retribution isn't tough. He says they're tough because they attack directly, not from the shadows. And then he says, who benefits most from Retribution? He says it's Apollo Crews. Interesting logic. Crews comes out. A little scrum happens. Boom, boom, boom. Crews is in the ring. Hurt Business is out of the ring. We go to commercials. So I write down, we're going to have a match between two of them. And then sure enough, we come back and it's Apollo Crews and Shelton Benjamin. And I write down, is this for the title? ? We never know. Again, they don't value the titles. It is what it is. Benjamin, important part of the match is Benjamin's going to powerbomb Crews, but R-Truth, who is the WWE 24/7 champion, I believe, runs into the ring with the ninjas of Akira Tozawa behind him. They run right out of the ring up the ramp. This leads to Crews taking advantage, dropping Sheldon for the quick pin to win. Yikes. Lashley and MVP immediately hit the ring and attack Crews. Mustafa Ali, Ricochet, and Cedric all make the save. They make a 6-man match for tonight. Per the stipulation of this Crews versus Benjamin match, there's a lot said. Sorry, I missed it earlier. I guess Lashley and Benjamin have to watch the U.S. title match at SummerSlam from backstage. They're banned from ringside. Oh, okay. Well, that was important then. God, this show, man. Garza's backstage with the girl from The Bachelor, who's making yet another appearance. She is a looker. It's true. Ivar interrupts. Hands her turkey leg. Accuses Garza of poisoning Montez Ford. Weird. They have words. This fucking thing is so goddamn. They talk about Thunderdome, which I think is smart. I think the more you talk about Thunderdome and all that excitement, you'll get that novelty bump. Hopefully, if it's not new, it's through bump happening starting on SmackDown. Cool. So now we got a match. Ivar versus Angel Garza. Pretty by the numbers kind of match. They get their shit in. Distract by Andrade. Garza gets the win. Yay. The fuck. So we're backstage. Screen goes black. What the heck? So Joe does this thing because we've got all the major suspects back there. Joe goes over, they go over hundreds of hours of security footage. And he says something's about to come out. Ooh, tease. Again, it's just thing after thing after thing, stuff after stuff after stuff. This one. Garza comes up to Dawkins and the Bachelorette girl. Here comes Zelina Vega with Andrade. They all argue. Charlie Caruso walks up and says, "What's on the video? Let's roll the tape." And Vega poisoning a red cup belonging to Montez Ford. Vega looks shocked, points a finger at Caruso. What? And Ford suddenly returns, and they brawl with Andrade and Garza. Well, okay. So we found out, we uncovered the thing. Okay. Natalya versus Mickie James. This is the best match of the night. Boy, when you have two pros going at it like it matters, it's really good. And they didn't advertise that Mickie James is going to be facing off. I mean, they mentioned it last week, but they didn't advertise it at the top of the show, which is, why not? Why wouldn't you? Match is really good, really tight. So, of course, it has a shitty count-out finish. Seth Rollins and Murphy comes out. They make it all about his thing with Rey Mysterio. And then Joe and Rollins continue arguing during this very good match. I'm just pissed off. It sucks. Just sucks, man. It just sucks. So Lana is there when Natalya wins. They're happy, filming Mickie for TikTok or something, I guess. Okay, that's a thing. They announced that Baszler and Asuka versus Banks and Bayley is going to happen. Oh, cool. Go to commercial, we come back. They advertised NXT pretty heavily twice in the first hour, which is great. I'm saying they should continue to do that. As Raw goes, NXT goes. So you want to help NXT out. They're doing good shit. And they got a show Wednesday unopposed because AEW won't be there. And then they also have, their big thing. On Saturday, which now AEW is going to run their show against because it's not a war and they're not competing with each other. Okay. We got the Golden Role Models against Asuka and Shayna Baszler. This match should have been great, and in spots that it was. But they never really explain. Is it Shayna Baszler just wants a fight and she wants to fight whomever, whenever? Okay. We've decided we're pushing Baszler or featuring her again, which is great. And a whole lot of chaos happens. And Baszler locks her in and Bayley taps. Okay, Shayna Baszler and Asuka win. They love doing that with the women. So it's like whenever anything unconventional happens or they feel like they haven't been given somebody the appropriate push, or they have some problem that needs to be solved. And in this case, it's Asuka not having Kairi Sane, which is the only thing that makes sense. Give her Baszler, but they're going to win because that's their way of doing it. We're gonna give a win, and we're going to have Shayna Baszler do it to show that she's competent. Just like we're going to have Bianca Belair win on a team with Ruby Riott to show that she's good. And so indirectly, Ruby Riott gets the rub. It's just weird. All right, sorry. So they show Shawn Michaels walking around backstage. It's little moments like this that I think they do really well. Just sort of showing Shawn Michaels walk around and everybody glad to see him and he's glad handing. I think these kind of moments are really good and they should do it with more people than just the old timers. I think if they showed Drew McIntyre coming in and getting along with the baby faces, then it wouldn't feel like such a shock when all of a sudden he's talking to all of them about what they got to do about Retribution. Show these guys, present them as bigger than life. And strangely, an easy way to present somebody as bigger than life is just showing them being exceptional in mundane moments, such as walking backstage and how people react to them. If people will react to Drew McIntyre like he's a star all the time, then it helps to make him a star. Just saying. So we get, oh my God, again, a lengthy video showing Seth Rollins and Dominic Mysterio and how long they beat him and all the damage that they did beating him. Cruz is backstage with his crew, right? Ricochet, Alexander, Mustafa Ali. He picked Ali and Lashley, or he picks, no, I wrote it down wrong in my notes. So he picks his team for the Hurt Business. He doesn't pick Cedric because Cedric got hurt by the Lashley full Nelson. But Cedric says he and Ricochet are supposed to be a team. Oh, drama. They all walk off. Randy Orton walks over, thinking, always thinking. Shawn Michaels is backstage with Drew. And he's trying to give him advice, saying, Orton's going to use all this anger against him. He needs to refocus, all that good stuff. Shawn puts him over, saying that, he works really hard. Because in the morality of the WWE, getting what you don't deserve makes you bad, even if you're a good guy. And working hard makes you good. At least it's some form of morality that makes sense. Talk about SummerSlam a bit. And then the Iconics are back mocking Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan. So Billie Kay says that Peyton Royce is going to take her place in the match against Riott. Weird. Shayna Baszler's talking to Duke and Marina Shafir from NXT. Weren't they supposed to be the Horsewomen? Isn't that what that is? Iconics wonder who they are. Oh, okay. We look at what Retribution has done, and then we come back and Ruby Riott is wrestling Peyton Royce. I just write down here, Royce is obviously going to win, and Royce wins. The Iconics stand tall. Again, it's just 50-50 booking. That's how you can guess who's going to win. Whoever won last week, the other one's going to win the next week. It's wow. Shane McMahon, yay, Raw Underground. I'm actually excited for Raw Underground because this is the week where I think they have to do a little something different. Yeah. So Dolph Ziggler's there. People yap back and forth. Eric of the Viking Raiders beats somebody in convincing fashion. Ziggler says it was all right. Eric calls Ziggler to the platform. Ziggler accepts. Okay, good. Something different and an actual sort of competitive match as far as Raw Underground goes. Ziggler does a thumb to the eye and puts on the sleeper and wins. Ivar knocks him into the audience. Shane runs over and says that's enough. Raw Underground is raw and unscripted and a shoot brother. Unless you knock somebody into the crowd, can't have that. Weird. So I guess that's the match we're going to have next week. So now we're beginning to set up matchups for this thing. Okay. Ray's there with Dominic. Yeah, look at Dominic's body all messed up. Show those pictures. We got a Mysterio versus Rollins. Well, the Dominic Mysterio versus Rollins street fight at SummerSlam. Ray cuts a decent promo about being in pain, but how seeing his son get beat was worse. He says he's going to be there in Dominic's corner. Rollins and Murphy appear on the screen. Promo happens. I feel bad for the stuff that Rollins has to try to put over. The stuff, the positions that he has to take. It doesn't really, it doesn't make him a star. It just doesn't feel like he's a star. So Rollins and Murphy enter the ring. they pull some kendo sticks out, and then Dominic unloads on Rollins and Murphy with the kendo sticks. Ray both have kendo sticks. They kendo stick the heck out of Seth Rollins. Like I wrote here, they're going to get their revenge. Now, someone would argue they didn't get their full revenge, but they beat the heck out of him pretty good, and it's before the pay-per-view. I just like, what? It's weird. They just keep taking the air out of the balloon. They create this tension that you want to see paid off with a pop, and instead you just get the air let out of the balloon a little bit at a time before the pop happens. Ooh, not a bad analogy. Cedric Alexander's backstage, and he's mad, which they set up earlier, and MVP tries to talk to him to divide he and the friends. MVP, though, goes on to make Cedric question Ricochet and Apollo Crews. And so Cedric is now in a quandary. Good job, MVP. They talk about Raw talk. Yeah. Shane in the Underground. So we're gonna have a match, like an evenish match. So Arturo Ruas, the submission specialist who just beats dudes up and doesn't put them in submission holds, against Riddick Moss, the big huge guy. So they're going at it, and they tumble to the floor, still going at it. They beat up a bunch of the extras. And I guess that's it. That's their version of a schmaltz finish. Okay. We go back. 6-man elimination match. I forgot to mention that earlier. Hurt Business against Apollo Crews, Ricochet, and Ali. The long and short of it, pins happen. Lashley, rightfully so, destroys everybody more or less, and the Hurt Business win. It's the proper finish. All right. We got Akira Tozawa against Shelton Benjamin. And Cedric Alexander is the 24/7 champ. Cedric Alexander wins. But then, yeah. Good stuff, I guess. Sorry, I'm talking like this. It's just the show is just so disjointed. Normally, I have ways to sort of keep in check what I wanted to talk about when, but the show is just so much keeps happening. Thing after thing after thing, and it's all skipping stone. So Raw Underground, we showed what already happened tonight. Jeez Louise. And then Shayna Baszler and Duke watch from ringside. So Shafir brawls and makes her submit. She stands tall, but Nia Jax is there. Oh, hits her from behind. Jax drops Duke. Baszler hits the platform. Okay, here we go, finally. But Jax avoids the fight. Shane says to Jax, the only rule is you have to fight, but apparently she doesn't. So this thing with no rules, except for the one rule, and the one rule doesn't matter, as long as it screws us out of a fight that we want to see. Oh, that was shit. God, that was shitty. Andrade against Ford. They make a lot out of, are people still poisoned? Is he still sick? But he appears perfectly fucking fine. And then he wins, so he gets his revenge. What the fuck? Oh, okay. Belair at one point dropped Selena Vega at a power slam on the floor as well in the course of this match. Okay. Shawn Michaels is back there greeting people, looks like a star, like I was saying before. He just looks like a star. Everybody's glad handing him. Here comes Shawn Michaels. Cuts a pretty good promo. Says that he's either going to get Claymore kicked or super kicked at the pay-per-view, so Shawn Michaels is going to be there, I guess, which they never established earlier, and still haven't really, oh God, it's just so weird. Guess what? He gets RKO'd and he gets punted, but the punt doesn't kill him like it does everybody else. He's just kind of woozy in the corner. It's weird. Drew makes him scatter, but then Orton comes back and hits him with the RKO. And that's it. The fuck. Like I said, a lot happened on this show, but they did a couple things that appeared to be sort of payoffs, which is weird. It's just weird. It's a weird show. Anyway, this is Platinum versus Raw for August 17th, 2020.